Well, everybody. Says it's private. Not sure why, but we'll get started in just a few moments. Let me just share the link. Whoopsies. All right. Let me put on the YouTube link. I may or may not come on camera. I'm not too sure yet. All right. If you are on YouTube, let me head over to YouTube so I can see you. You're welcome to say hi. And we'll talk a little bit about the energies, talk a little bit about light body, what's been going on, what's been coming through. You are also welcome to share what you guys are having feeling. Hi, Adrian. Welcome, welcome. I know it's been a while, and it's been wild. Been a while, and it's been wild, and we're all going through different levels of intensity. And I shared this earlier in a post. The intensity is going to be different for everyone. The intensity includes physical, right? The physical sensations, the physical quote unquote symptoms. Sometimes we call them that. Emotional, the emotional purge, the emotional clearing. Sometimes it's going to be more of the mental stuff. Sometimes it's going to be more of the physical reality, moving and shifting a lot. And sometimes it's all of the above. Sometimes we just get hit from all sides, from all directions, in every way. And it's actually a normal part of the process and a normal part of the acceleration process too. So you're not alone. It's been wild. It's been big. It's been everything for everyone. It just depends on where everyone's at. It just depends on what we're working through. For me, this past week was a big flushing, big flushing, big clearing, stomach, gut, more the gut, right? All the root, and I've been going through that sort of like intense clearing for the past 3 years now. So when it comes, it's like, okay, here it is. Let's just open up to it. A bit more intense than like normal flushing, but it's a lot of flushing. And just to remember that there is a physical release that needs to occur from all the toxicity, the emotional toxicity, all of the density. Density has become physical, which is part of the reason why this is a very physical process, because there's a lot of physical density inside of the body and it needs an outlet, right? It needs to be released. This is not just energetic. This is not just emotional. It needs a physical release. And when I heard that for the first time from my previous teacher, it really it kind of sunk a little bit deeper on just how physical this process is and will continue. So one of the things that it's so interesting how this all works. But anyways, the physical clearing, the physical sensations are just going to be part of our new norm. Okay. What happens is that we get better. We get better at trusting the body. We get better at embracing the process. We get better at honoring, trusting. We get better at allowing the body to do what it needs to do. There's not as much resistance, not as much fight, not as much XYZ linear head ego. Right. It just becomes a little that within itself makes this a lot easier in a way. It doesn't mean that it's all going to go away and we're never going to feel anything. It's just not like that anymore. We just have to continue to open up to this process. The intensity becomes manageable. And I feel like one of you probably might have mentioned this, becoming a little bit better. And it does become a little bit better. Okay. Because there's so much ego, because there's so much heaviness inside, it just becomes part of our day to day. The thing about this is that we never, like, until we're conscious about this process, we don't know anything about this. We don't know about the journey it takes. And while there's still quite a bit of fight inside, while there's still quite a bit of resistance, there comes a point where we have to let go, right? We have to open up. We have to let the process unfold and let the light body lead. And we have no other choice. And that becomes the norm. Right? We just allow the process. We just allow all of the sensations to come up. There's no longer this sense of threat. There's no longer this sense of, oh my God, what's happening? Or I have to stop this. It takes some time for all of us. It's just that we have different levels. We have different levels of fear. We have different levels of resistance, right? We all are unique in that way, but yet we still have tons of it to feel, tons of it to open up to. And again, it just becomes part of the norm. I do want to open up for questions or anything that you guys would like to share. I do have a limited time though, because I do have somewhere to go, somewhere to be. See if you can see part of me. But we'll make the best of the time that I have. I do plan to. There's a lot of things that have come through. Well, I say a lot of things. There's a lot of things always that come through. But as far as my next theme or the next course, or the next class, and I will be sharing a little bit more about that in due time. Right now, with the frequencies and the energies that we're all feeling and we're all sensing, remember that everything is preparing us. Everything is part of the clearing and the release and the detox that needs to occur before, it's almost like before certain things happen, before certain events take place, before certain things. It's everything becomes so intrinsically and divinely aligned that when you start to feel and sense everything, you start to realize just how aligned everything is. Okay. Your linear ego mind may not fully see, well, it will never see the alignment fully. And that's normal. It still functions from the limitation, the old programming, and the fear and lack. And so it can't fully see what's going on and why things are going on. It's just a normal thing. However, there's always more to see and more to feel and more to realize and more to recognize and more to open up to and more to allow. This won't end. Well, nothing ever ends. When we talk about, time, linear time in this process, it's so vast. Everything is so vast. Everything is so expansive. I feel like more and more of us are coming into this realization that this process is big. This process will continue. I will continue to feel and sense, right? And go through all of these roller coasters, all of these shifts and changes. And there was not too long ago, there was something inside of me that realized the resistance of kind of like wanting things to slow down a little bit. And it was a visual that I got and I felt it and I sensed it. And it was kind of like, oh, wow, this is me. Okay. Breathe. There's so much going on right now. It's normal. It's normal for you, for your ego, for subconscious ego to be like, hold on. Like, can we slow down a little bit? Okay. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can take this, all of these different things. And within that realization came this lack, this, I don't think I can do this. I don't believe I can. I don't, in fact, it came through, it was a question about where do I not believe that I can do this? Where do I not believe in magic? And as soon as that came through, like, oh, where am I not believing in my magic? Like everything started to become super magical. But I needed to become aware of that inside of me, that doubt, that resistance, that lack of self-confidence. It's going to come different, in different levels and in different parts of the journey. And I mentioned this in a comment not too long ago. Well, maybe not directly like this, but those are always going to be like big major themes to open up to. They're going to come back. Everything at some level comes back because it's so expansive, as in like there's so much to see and there's so much to feel into everything we've been, into everything we've seen, we've experienced, everything we've gone through. There's so many different angles to look at it from. Every time something comes back, it's not that you're going backward, it's that you're going deeper, deeper inside, deeper into the emotion, deeper into the heaviness, deeper into the ego aspect. And everything you experienced, everything you have experienced, you haven't experienced it from just one aspect. You've experienced it from a gazillion aspects. And so every time something comes back into your reality, you are being granted the opportunity to connect to a different ego aspect or a deeper aspect of yourself that you hadn't had the opportunity to connect to before. So it's a gift, right? If we can take everything as a gift, what's the gift here? What's the opportunity? Are you allowing yourself to open that gift? Are you allowing yourself to engage with what you're being shown, with what's coming back a little bit differently, right? In a more expansive way. And just something to open up and just something to feel into, right? Adrian, I have experienced so many doubts on this path, doubt in my ability to get through this, doubt in my stamina, doubt in my desire, and doubt in the support of the universe. And they come in waves. It definitely does come in waves. You will go deeper into these emotions, these energies. And it's something that surprisingly, I guess, in a way, I hadn't become aware of this. Like it took me years when I finally got to this point of, oh yeah, I'm feeling like this. It's a lot of doubt. It's a lot of self-lack. There's a lot of unworthiness inside of me. Okay. It's always been there at some level, but I hadn't fully connected to it. And I was very aware of it. Um, let's say, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago or so. And it did take me like, oh, hadn't been too aware of this. Where I actually like there were things coming out, there were thoughts, doubtful thoughts, all of these different things. And part of it was for me is because everything was so deeply suppressed, incredibly suppressed. In fact, one of the most suppressed things that I had were thoughts. Thoughts were very suppressed for me. My mental mind was very rigid. And so there were a lot of things that weren't even coming out as thoughts until, again, 3-4 years ago, when they really started to come out. And there's a lot of things that started to come out very fast, very quickly. That's when I started to write endlessly, almost all day long, just getting things out. And sometimes I wouldn't write it, it would just be thoughts in my head that would just come out. Just depends, but there's a lot of things that we keep so deep, so suppressed, and so guarded within the mental body that they have to come out. Because, and not because, but as you continue to open up your mental body, you're going to start to open up your emotional body a little bit more. You're going to go through, I mean, and everyone will go through it in their own way, but the mental body and the emotional body become in sync. Okay. Part of the separation within this experience is that the mental body and the emotional body are very separate. And so the things that you say, the things that you think, the things that you hear verbally are not being felt. This is a huge one for every single one of us, by the way, that we have so many things unplugged, so many connections that are very thin that we can't feel. And so, and I've shared this and I share this quite often. The biggest thing is for us to start feeling, sensing with all of our senses the things that we say, the things we write, the things we think, and even the things we hear that are being said by other people. And you're even going to start to feel the things other people think too. And it's just a really important part of the process to open up to, because it allows you to feel more connected. So just allowing your whole body to feel what's in your head. And not just what's in your head, but your whole mental body, all of your thoughts, all of the linear stuff, ego thoughts, ego programming, all of that has to be felt. There's no other way out. There's no other way in. There's no other, like the ego will always try to find ways to evade that. The ego will always find things to bypass. The ego will always try to find a different way to go through this process. Always. But there's a really big key that we can't really access until we allow the body to start feeling all of these different things in all of these different ways. And the moment that you start to really feel into this, and the moment that you start to realize this is a huge key, there is no other way to gain this key and gain this liberation but by sensing things, by feeling things, but by becoming more conscious. Then you stop the merry-go-round. You stop yourself from trying to find all the other ways that don't work, that will never work. And you just go into the emotions. You go into the feelings, the sensing of all of these energies inside of you. So again, really, really big, really important to just know that these do come in waves. They will come in and out. They will come throughout. They will forever come through. And every time we open up to them, every time we go deeper into these waves, the faster we come out the other side, the easier it is to cross over. So allow yourself to be present, allow yourself to feel deeper into any sort of block that you're going through. The doubt, the anger, a lot of that, the frustration, the confusion. And I know we've talked about this, even the I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care for this anymore. And it's an energy that's going to come through for every single one of us. Let it come out. Let it be felt. Let your whole body transmute and transcend this energy so that your higher self light can anchor deeper inside of your body. And your higher self light will always know more. Your higher self light will always know what's possible. Your higher self light knows what's capable and what it is capable of. But again, this lack of connection allows us to forget. So we forget all of these different things all the time. And so just allowing really feeling into, where am I allowing this? Where am I allowing myself to continually forget and continually disconnect and continually suffer and continually be in this merry-go-round? The moment that you start to ask, where am I allowing this, is the moment that you open up for more levels of awareness. And the more levels of awareness, the more consciousness you gain, the more freedom, the more liberated, and the more things change. So really play with that. Play with your levels of awareness, because the ego linear mind doesn't fully understand and it doesn't remember. So it doesn't know that the resistance and all of these energies that's fighting against are allowing and are creating a reality within itself. And so the ego, when it comes to the ego linear mind, it's about being present, right? Allowing all the emotions and all the thoughts and all that to come out of it. And simultaneously allowing more light, more of your higher self to come through you so that you can start to see things in a different light and see how you're allowing things. So the ego linear mind is not going to get it. The ego linear mind is not going to ever admit that it's allowing things, which is why it's important to disconnect so that you can connect more with your higher self light, so that you can see more of what you're allowing and how you're allowing things. If that makes sense. Yes, I live. Can you elaborate on how to allow yourself to be present and how to go deeper? I keep getting stuck in the negative feelings and thoughts and seem to go nowhere, but stuck and end up manifesting those negative thoughts and feelings even more. So, okay, there's a couple of things here. Okay. The moment that we use negative, there's a level of resistance. Okay. So all of these beliefs, all of these programs activate about about negativity, about a duality reality. Anything that's negative, we actually don't want to feel, and we don't want to be present to. Okay. It's just an energy. It's discordant, it's distorted, it's closed, it's heavy, it's stressful. Coming into this awareness so that you can start to open up a little bit more to this energy is huge, right? Whatever it is, whatever is going to be for you, right? Asking yourself, okay, how can I open myself a little bit more to this energy? Okay. Negative is just overall, it's an energy we resist, and it's an energy we will continue to resist because of the judgment, because of the misperceptions, because of the programming. Okay. If we continue to utilize that word, we will continue to anchor all of the old perceptions and programs of it, and we will never be able to feel it fully. Right? And so allowing yourself to just sit with this. Okay. And for me, and I've said this, this is why I work with, or I will say heavy a lot, like heavy. It's heavy. It's like this boulder. It's like this, heavy backpack, or if it's this like excess weight, you start to feel the heaviness of it. You start to feel it in your body. Okay. This may not work for everybody, which is why it's important to start to figure out what works for you. Is it a word, or maybe it's just an image? Maybe it's just a visual. Allowing yourself to communicate with your body in a way that your body starts to open up instead of the opposite, which is what tends to happen is when we use these words in a way that doesn't support, the body locks down, the body closes. And while we may start to feel things, if the body's not fully open, then it doesn't matter how much we feel. We're not fully supporting the body in releasing the energy in the way that it needs to. Okay. And you may want to go very basic. You may just want to be very generic about, okay, I want to feel the tightness. Okay, I want to open myself up to just feel those areas where I'm stuck. Where I'm stuck, where you did mention that, or where I'm closed off, right? So play with this. Play with body. Show me where I'm closed off. Show me where I'm strangled. Show me where I'm suffocating. Show me where I'm whatever the case may be. You may start to feel things right away. You may not. You may need to sit here for a while. When you start to, or as you continue to breathe, which by the way, that is the answer. It's very simple. Will always be very simple. Way more simple than we want it. And what the mind wants. But as you breathe, hi Lilith, welcome, welcome. As you breathe, you're automatically allowing. This is part of the reason why I go back to the breath so much. I use that word a lot. Remind you to breathe. This is why I also pause the way that I do, is because the breath is such a huge key. It is actually the biggest key here that opens you up to allowing, right? It opens you up to sensing. It opens you up to being more present and going deeper. Okay. And there's always going to be many, 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 many other things. So one of the things that I realized about myself in this process is sometimes there will be I will verbally be like, okay, just go a little bit deeper, go a little bit deeper, go a little bit deeper, go a little bit deeper. Not all the time, but I have noticed myself. And this will come almost very automatic, very subconscious. all of a sudden it's like, oh, I heard. Just go deeper. Okay. Go deeper. I will kind of like become a little more conscious and then consciously say it. Just go a little bit deeper, go a little bit deeper, go a little bit deeper. And one of the things that I realized, and I haven't shared this, there's a lot of things I do feel like I'm a bit behind, but it's all for purpose. There's a lot of aspects inside of us. There's a lot of visuals that support. There's a lot of energies. Part of the resistance or part of this will support in going deeper is that, well, I'm going to bring up an image. I'm going to bring up the image of the ocean. Okay. The ocean is massive. The ocean is infinite. Okay. We haven't even explored parts of the ocean because it's so deep. It's actually really dark. Our human aspect is not quite capable of even physically going this deep. Okay. This isn't the aspect that goes deep. And so one of the things that I've played with is connecting to my mermaid or connecting to any sea animal for that matter. That is able to go a little deeper, right? This is its habitat. This is its home. It's not scared of going deep. It's not scared of going underwater. We're everything. And I like mermaids. We like mermaids. A lot of us have connected to them for a really long time. Allowing yourself to connect to your mermaid aspect. Allowing yourself to feel as mermaids, you live underwater, right? As mermaids, this is your everyday. Go deeper, connected to this aspect so that it becomes a little bit easier. That makes sense. So there's so many different things that we try to do, but because we're doing it from linear mind ego, it's impossible. And so we keep asking ourselves and we keep trying to figure out how to do this and how to do this and how to do this without realizing that the aspect that we want to do it from is not the aspect that will ever be able to do this. And so you stop doing it as that aspect. You connect to other aspects. You connect to higher self aspects. You connect to all of these more expansive parts of you that are capable of doing all of these different things. And you will connect to many different aspects because you are meant to be everything. You are meant to connect to everything. You are meant to embody everything. So yeah, the word has a lot of weight. And again, just being open to, if I keep saying it or if I keep repeating it, then my body will continue to lock itself up, which is why it's manifesting. So even though I think that I'm trying to do the opposite that I am, I'm only creating this for myself because there's so much resistance to this energy. You're not actually fully feeling it as consciously as and openly as we all need to, right? So again, just allowing yourself to connect to this energy in a new way. This is part of, and I've mentioned this before, I might say it again, when we talk about feeling and sensing, when we sense and when we feel as an ego aspect, we don't go anywhere. Doesn't matter how long we cry, doesn't matter how much we get angry, doesn't matter. Like, there is a level of, okay, I'm going to bring my ego out and I'm going to really let this energy out. But you have to be conscious when you do these things. When you're angry, when you're crying, when you're getting all these emotions out, there has to be enough higher self light in order for you to consciously do this, in order for it to actually create the effect that we want. If not, you're going to see you're just in the same place. And technically you're not, but you will not release the energy that needs to be released in the way or the amount that it needs to. Consciousness is everything. Doing this as higher self light will shift everything. And there's a huge difference when you feel and when you sense as ego linear mind instead of higher self light. So there's a humongous difference. It's day and night. Complete opposite effects, complete opposite aspects. So it brings me back into, it has nothing to do with what you do, how you do it, how long you do this for. This is more about how conscious you are, what aspect you're doing things from. That makes all the difference. Makes a world of a difference, makes a universal difference. And so just bringing that up for awareness, bringing that up to activate. Adrian, I feel a shift in the way I'm reacting to others who usually push my buttons. The old Adrian felt the need to defend. Ego. The ego will always do that, by the way. Ego will always be in defense or even offense. The ego will always be guarded. The ego linear mind will always feel the need to correct or convince or convert, right? It will always feel hurt. It will always feel victim. All of these different things. The list is pretty big. I no longer feel triggered now. I texted, I hear you instead of debating, which is a huge part of letting go of the fight. We come to a realization. You mentioned neither agreeing or rejecting what they wrote, just acknowledging and disconnecting. We come to a level of understanding where we realize the energy we're putting out. That same energy, that everything that the ego does, by the way, will always be will always be draining at some level. It's always going to drain. It's always going to suck your light out. It's always going to leave you in this merry-go-round. It's always going to leave you in this lack, sometimes even deeper sense of lack. And so when you start to open up and really feel this and let go, and obviously the whole process to this, then you realize that your energy is too valuable and too precious and too sacred to engage in any way that diminishes it. Right? So it's beautiful that you've come to this. Which is part of the when you mention I end up consumed, because the ego's in the ego has taken over, that you're doing whatever you're doing as an ego, and so you're consumed. Your light is sucked out of you. And when this happens and you're unaware of it, then you're calling forth a physical reality kind of wake you up, shake you up, right? Slap you in the face sometimes, which we've all experienced. But it's very important to become aware of, this is my ego. I'm doing this as my ego. I'm feeling this. I'm sensing this. I'm going about this as an ego, which will always consume me, which will always drain me, which will always, it's like you never win. Nobody ever wins because you're in this never-ending battle. Okay. When you start to open yourself, when higher self light comes through, you realize this isn't about winning or losing. This is about being. This is about opening up. This is about letting go of everything, every fight, every belief that says, I need to be right or I need to be wrong or someone needs to be right. You let go of that sense of the converting, the convincing, the debating, all of these different things. They don't matter anymore, and they do not hold this much weight anymore. Part of that is because there's not as much ego involved anymore. And so higher self light is much stronger, is much able to take over, and you're able to just flow with it in a higher way, in a lighter way, if that makes sense. Bar, welcome. I feel heaviness in my body every day. It feels depressing. I used to get a day or a half a day of lightness with more joy. This does not occur anymore for me. I wake every day with such fatigue and low mood. I walk in nature, stretch, and use weights to help this. It offers partial short-term relief. Okay. So this has been going on, well, I don't know how long, but regardless, part of what elongates a process is the resistance, and sometimes the resistance is so unconscious and so subconscious that we don't even know it. And it's like, this is like every single one of us has gone through this level. Doesn't matter how long you've been going through this, doesn't matter how long you've been going through this, or how conscious you are, or how conscious you think you are. The ego is always going to be present at some level. And so there's a level of comfort. There's a level of being in a comfortable zone, your comfort zone, that while physically you're feeling, like you mentioned, low mood, depressed, all of these different things, it's reached a level of comfort for the ego. And so it allows enough resistance to be inside of you to continue this for however long. As we open ourselves up, and going back to like, okay, just play with, where am I allowing this? Where is this in my body? What part of me has become comfortable enough that is not willing to shift things in order for this to change for me? Can I be with it? Can I be with it long enough? Can I be more present? Can I feel this a little bit deeper? Can I unlock more thoughts, emotions, whatever needs to come out of me, so that the ego, the level or the energy of the ego starts to dissolve a little bit more, right? Starts to diminish a little bit more, so that I'm not stuck in this for longer than I need to be. And while this experience is still, there will be a purpose to everything. Opening up to the purposes, opening up to, well, I needed to, kind of go through this this long in order for me to just get to a level of, I'm done. I really want to get out of this. But there has to be like a deeper, like a really stronger, the emotion of I'm done has to be stronger than the energy of the ego that says, I'm fine here. I'm comfortable. And it doesn't matter how uncomfortable it might be for parts of me, but there's enough comfort in it because I'm afraid to move, or I'm afraid to feel something. That makes sense. So there has to be like a deeper sense of breaking point, a deeper sense of even like emotional, mental, physical rage inside of you, enough to say, I'm not allowing this anymore. I need to feel, and I'm willing to feel more. I'm willing to open up more. I'm willing to go deeper into this so that I can move, so that I can shift, so that things change for me. That makes sense. So hope that supports. Um, there will always be this level of like roller coaster. Um, we go into the roller coaster of like super, super intense, the lows and the lows of the lows. And sometimes we have to go really deep into the lows and lows to go up again. And there will always be something, in my personal experience, there's always something for me to like find, how can I say this? Even in the simplicity, or even in the simpleness of just being outside, being in nature, sun gazing, playing with my kiddos. Like that is part of the highs that I get. It's because I get to be fully in that experience, and I absolutely love it. I love when you're in this presence, pure sacred presence, actually, no matter what's going on. You can simultaneously be in the depths of the deepest end of you and know that there's a piece inside of you that you're still connected to that allows you to be okay with the experience. So it's not like you're super high, like, oh my God, this is amazing. But there are levels of that because you know inside of you that, oh my God, this is going to allow me to bounce even higher. This is going to allow me to open up even more. This is going to allow my physical reality to shift. I don't know exactly how, I don't know exactly to what extent, but I know that it will, and I'm excited for it. And then you come into these levels or these moments of peace, these moments of sacredness, these moments of it's just so fun to be with these kids. It's just so fun to be in their space. It's so fun to realize how open they are and how loving they are and how amazing they are. Like that's my high. I love it. Absolutely love it. And then table shifts and I'm in the lowest, right? Like I allow myself to be so present that I'm okay with these really low lows and these really high highs because I maintain this level of like peace at all times, no matter what's going on. So I'm kind of simultaneously in all levels, all roller coasters, all highs and lows and wherever I am in the roller coaster ride at all times so that I can allow myself to be more surrendered, more embracing of anything that I'm going through, if that makes sense. I would actually love to go to Canada. So thank you for offering that. One day, yes. Um, thank you. Um, yes, I can see where I may be comfortable in this due to resistance and not wanting to feel. So I don't shift out of this. And just, again, it's just awareness. Okay. We become so resistant and we become so, oh my God, what's going on? Whatever the case may be, that we're unwilling to, again, this is ego. The ego will always be unwilling to admit that it's allowing this because the ego will never be the one that takes responsibility ever, ever. So it will not come from your ego. This is going to come from higher self. Higher self is going to be, okay, where am I allowing this? Okay, where inside of me is allowing? Okay, there's part of you that, again, it's like, no, I'm not allowing this. But yet, there's always going to be a part of you that's allowing this. So, coming into terms that there's always going to be polar opposites of you, always. Part of you that is allowing this and the part of you that isn't allowing this. Okay. How much weight is the part of me that is allowing this so that I know kind of where I stand? The part of me that's allowing this, which is mostly ego. I mean, there will always be both because higher self will even allow things. Well, higher self will always allow things. Um, ego allows things, but it doesn't realize it and will never admit to it. So without going like too crazy, um, the resistance inside the ego will create the heaviness. And if we are not willing to feel the heaviness, if we're not willing to really sense this in a much more conscious way, then you will ask and you will bring things into your physical reality to wake you up, to make you feel things, because you're not willing to openly and consciously do this yourself. Now, there's always going to be, there will always be at some level something within, like something perceived as outside of you to push you sometimes. There's going to be this, someone or a physical reality to push. Okay. The levels of push are relative. The levels of push depend on many things. Okay. When you know, or what, when you realize, okay, I'm feeling these things, these really heavy things, and I get so consumed, which by the way, you're automatically creating more heaviness. That heaviness is the heaviness that your universe or your reality is responding to that heaviness. The more and more heaviness you create, the more your universe will say, well, this person needs a physical reality because she doesn't even know what's going on. She doesn't know what she's doing. So sometimes it needs to be in our face physically in order for us to wake us up. Sometimes we will need the bucket of ice cold water. Sometimes we will need our beds to break in order to wake up, right? All of these different things. Have about 2-3 minutes here. And so allowing that shift to occur where the heaviness that you're carrying, the heaviness of the emotion, the heaviness of XYZ becomes so unbearable. Like you're consciously aware of how unbearable it is, because you can think that this is unbearable, but you're totally unconscious of this, and it will just continue to be this pattern for you. The key is to be more open, a little more open, a little bit more conscious in sensing these things, so that you can consciously know that how unbearable it is, and how not only is it unbearable, but how much distortion it actually creates in the world. Every distortion that we see has to be felt consciously in order for us to break it, so that we no longer perpetuate that cycle, right? So again, consciousness makes the worlds of a difference. Bringing more light, breathing more light. The moment you are a little more conscious about breathing more light is the moment you start to connect a little bit more to your light. This is the aspect that you want to connect to simultaneously, so that you can start to say, what's allowing this? Where am I allowing this? And then you'll start to know why you're allowing this. But sometimes you just need to connect to the energy, because then sometimes we'll get stuck in the why. I need to know why. I need to know why. Anything you get stuck in will create a block. It will create a block that won't allow you to receive the very thing that you are trying to receive. So allowing yourself to be in this flow, allowing yourself to, the moment that you know you're stuck, the moment you know you're whatever, XYZ, resisting. The moment that you become a little bit more aware is the moment that you allow yourself to shift. Okay. Do you need to just get out of the room? Do you need to just do something else? Do you need to just be in a different energy for you to be more open to it? Okay. And then you have to also notice, how much of that is just distraction? How much of that am I doing? How much am I too long out of this energy because I just don't want to feel it? It's complex, I know, but keep it simple. Come back to your breath. Your breath will always make things simple. Your conscious breath will always support you in the way that you need to be supported. Your conscious breath will always open up more doors, will always open up new realities, right? All of these different things. And so, yeah, I do have now a minute. Thank you, Liv. That I definitely will. I will keep that in my heart, and open up to. Oh, I'd be completely open to it. So thank you for sharing that too. You're not the only one. We're not the only ones. So, there'll always be this. So there's always going to be a lot of things that we will relate to. So a lot of connecting points, right? This is what allows us to kind of bond with each other and support one another too, because it's like we're all in this canon effect. I just realized this the other day. I went to a contemporary dance. It was so beautiful. I'll share that later. It was very symbolic. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect for me. But there's a moment where these four dancers were in canon. We're doing the movement in their own timing. So they were all doing the same movements, but they were doing it in a different time. The canon. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly like how things are here. We will all go through same energies in different physical forms, but same energies. And for a lot of us, we'll go through it in different times. And it all supports. So thank you for everyone that was here. For everyone that's here, everyone that was here, everyone that shared, or just was here present. Thank you so much. I'm not able to see like who's here, not like Facebook, but I do appreciate you being here, being present. Thank you, Lilith. No worries. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Liv. Thank you, Adrian. Or maybe I did mention everyone. It says 5. So if someone's here, I don't know. Sending you lots of blessings. I will put in the group again more of what's to come. And yeah, boys. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.